Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jasmine, aka Budget Treasures, and here on my channel we talk about all things finance with the emphasis on budgeting, saving money, and paying off debt. In today's video, this is actually episode 2 of the Budgeting for Beginners series that I am completing. The series is for people who are starting over in their budget journey, their financial journey, those people who have never been on a financial journey before. You kind of don't know where to start and you need some type of guidance. And so this is what the series is for. I am starting over myself, so I have a ton of videos where I was previously budgeting, doing things right. I kind of fell off and now I am starting over again. So I am bringing you along the process with me. I was not able to document this the very first time because I was not on YouTube. So now that I am on YouTube and I'm starting over, I am so excited to be bringing you guys along the journey with me. So like I explained, today's video is episode 2. Okay, so and the last video, episode 1, that was put out, we completed step 1 of the Budgeting for Beginners series. And just to kind of give you a little bit of recap, we talked about your mindset, and then we also talked about auditing your account. So to get the very details, or to get the details about that, you want to head over to that video and you want to make sure that you watch it. Okay, you want to make sure that you're watching all of these videos in sequence, or if you don't have to do that, you don't have to do that either. You can start with episode 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, however. So we're gonna go ahead and jump right on into this particular video. So if that is something that you are here for, just keep on watching.
Keep rolling.
Alright, so in today's video, we are going to be completing 2 steps as well. Now these steps are going to be, it's going to take you a little bit of time to complete these steps. So please make sure that you give yourself about 30 minutes to an hour to complete this. It may not take an hour, maybe 30 minutes or a little bit longer, but it all just depends on you and what you have. So the very first thing that you are going to do, I have my notes here, so if I'm looking down, that's why. The very first thing that we're going to do is we're going to identify all of the bills that we have. And when I say bills, I'm not talking about expenses. I'm not talking about groceries, gas, and things like that. I'm talking about your bills, your house bills, your mortgage, if you have, of course, your utilities, your water, your gas, if you have an association fee, any bill that you have to pay monthly, that there's a due date attached to it and you have to send a certain amount of money in, rather it's the same amount or a flexible amount, you want to identify all of your bills, okay? You just want to put it all down. You can use an Excel spreadsheet, which is what I'm using to document everything. And the reason for that is because it's going to be easier when it comes to calculating all of your bills. So once you get all of your bills, and I'm also even talking about credit card bills because there's a due date attached to that. So you're going to put all of this in a spreadsheet. And then in that spreadsheet, you're also going to put your bill amount, the bill due date, and if any of these bills are late, you want to highlight those bills, okay? Because there's going to be a strategy of how you're going to pay those bills to current, okay? So make sure that you highlight those bills that are late. So that's going to take you a little bit of time to write down all of your bills, okay? Then the second thing that you're going to do is, within this sheet, is you are going to also document your income, and you can do it in any order. So document your income. How much money do you have coming in a month from your primary job? And then if you have a secondary job, or if you have three, I know some people have 3, 4 jobs. And then if you have any type of side hustle, you want to put that income there as well. And I don't want you to put anything where I want you to put kind of the base, okay? So if you have your job but you work overtime, don't put the overtime amount in there. Just put what you get if you do no your salary if you do no overtime. So just put that base amount in there. As far as your side hustles, if you get pretty much a certain amount and you've been getting it for like 6 months or more, let's say you get $100 a month and that's guaranteed, then definitely you can add that in your income. But if it's not a guaranteed amount, then don't even add it. Just put a 0 because it's not consistent income, okay? So you want to document all of your income. The third thing that you're going to do is you're going to document your expenses. Now, to me, bills and expenses is separate. I separate bills and expenses. For me, the way that my mind thinks, expenses is stuff like groceries, gas. It's all of those things that are variable. It's not a certain amount. I dictate how much I can spend on these things. I know that I have to eat, but I can dictate how much money I'm going to spend on eating, etc. Eating out, entertainment, you know, some of those things that you kind of have to pay for, but you can fluctuate that amount. I know that some of your bills will be variable as well because, like, for example, your utilities, it's all based upon what you use. But the expenses, I mean, I know I can't go without eating, but if I really was in deep, you know, I can go to my brother's house and eat. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I separate them, because my bills, I don't have a choice. I have to pay my bills. Now, I understand that if you have children or something like that, of course you have to feed your children, but you know, you get what I'm saying. So in that area, I put gas, household for, you know, cleaning products and things like that, things that you kind of have to buy quarterly, monthly, however your cadence is, depending on what you use. So you want to put that in the expenses area. Okay. Hey, I needed to insert this clip really quick so that I can talk a little bit more about the expenses. One of the important parts of doing step 1 is because in the expenses area, when you are writing down or putting in the spreadsheet your groceries, your gas, your clothes, entertainment, and things like that, you don't want to just put down a ghost number or make up a number or what you want to spend every single month. You want to put down there an average of the 3 months of what you were spending. You want to put that here. Now, of course, a little bit further in the video, we're going to talk about purging. And you are going to complete that process here and you're going to take away. But for this initial step, when you are writing down your expenses, please make sure that you are taking that number and average of what you was doing when you did your account audit, because that's a true picture of what you've been spending your money on. Now, you're probably going to scale back, but you want to make sure that you put that in that document. Okay. All right. And then the last area, or I think that's basically it. Okay. This is not including any money that you're saving or any extra debt or anything like that. That's not, we haven't gotten to that part yet. We're doing this step by step so that it's going to be easier for you to complete it as a total, and then also for you to understand what you're doing. Sometimes starting the budget is overwhelming, and so people stop because you're trying to do everything in one sitting, or you're trying to do everything in one day, and it's like, you can't, it's overwhelming. If you can, do your thing, boo. But I find it better to chop it up in bite sizes and in steps, okay? So once you write all of that down, you're gonna put your total income, you're going to put your total bills and expenses, and then you're going to put the total amount in your late bills. Okay, we're going to talk about the strategy of how to pay those late bills in a moment. Okay, then the next thing that you do is you're going to purge now at this point. Now, let me put a note here and say this is not everything that you spend your money on, okay? Because we haven't even gotten into sinking funds. And if you're not sure what sinking funds are basically small little savings that you put aside to take care of a larger expense at a later time. So this is not even including that. An example of that would be like car registration. You do not have an option to pay your car registration. You have to pay that. It's an annual fee depending on the state that you live in. So we're going to talk about sinking funds a little bit later, because that's going to be important to put in your budget. Okay. But for right now, we're going to purge, right? So you're going to take a look at your bills and expenses and your income. If your bills and expenses total over what you're making, you got to cut something out, honey. You got to cut that cable off. You have to take them apps. You got to cut them apps off. You got to lower your cell phone plan. You got to call around. You got to do some stuff, okay? If it's even close to what you're bringing in a month, you got to purge it. You got to figure out, what can I do without? You have to decrease your grocery budget if you need to. You need to decrease driving. You know, you might have to sit down for a season and say, I can't drive. I can only drive to necessary places. So you just really need to look at your bills and expenses, and you need to figure out what can you either decrease or remove. Okay. If your bills and expenses is close to your income, you can either decrease, like we just talked about, bills and expenses, or you can increase your income. Totally up to you. Now, in the beginning, I definitely wouldn't bank on the increasing the income, because depending upon what you do to increase your income, it may not come quick. But like if you pick up extra hours at work, of course you're going to get paid for that, but you don't want to do overtime just to pay your bills. That's still living above your means. Whenever you're doing overtime or something like that, or making extra money, that's pretty much, if you have debt, going to help to pay down your debt or save money. But it's totally up to you. You can do your thing. I personally wouldn't work overtime in order to pay bills. That means I'm living above my means. Okay. So figure out, what can you get rid of? What can you do without? What can you sacrifice for a season? Even if you know, you're not going to do cable, but you're going to do apps. Nowadays, if all the apps equate to cable. So you want to think about that. After you purge, you're going to determine, you know, if you're going to increase your income or if you're going to decrease bills and expenses. Then that's pretty much going to be everything that you're going to do for the particular step. Okay. So now let's talk about how you can put together a plan to pay your bills to current. So if you have any bills that are late, the very first thing that you're going to do is you're going to call the company that you are late. You're going to call and you're going to make a payment arrangement. Most people or most companies will work with you, and they will work out a payment arrangement for you, with you. On utility bills, normally they will work with you. They'll ask you how much can you pay, and make sure that you give them a realistic amount. Don't try to overexert yourself. Just say, okay, you know what? I can pay $50 extra every 2 weeks or every month until I'm paid to current. Okay. And you're going to have to determine how much you can pay. And that is, of course, based off of your, you know, what you're going to decrease, or if you're going to make extra money. Okay. So that is one way that you can do it. I've done it myself, where I have just basically, I pay my bill, but then I just determine what I can pay. And it's essentially the same thing. I pay, but I try to pay mine a lot quicker. So I'll pay bigger chunks in sooner amounts of time. So I pay a little bit every month. So I pay a little bit every time I get paid. Sorry. So I'm paid twice a month, sometimes 3 times a month. And I will throw all of my extra money to that late payment to make it current. So then that way you're not receiving those phone calls. When you make a payment arrangement, they're not going to call you anyway, because you've already talked to them. But you're going to decrease that. You're not going to be stressed because you know you have late bills and things like that. So those are the 2 things that you're going to do for this episode. You are going, and that's going to take you some time. So that's all you're going to do. And then in episode 3, we're going to talk about saving and debt payments in episode 3. And then once we get there, then we're gonna finally move into creating the budget and then using cash. That is the strategy that I use and the system that I use. I am a cash budgeter. I am a zero-based budgeter for the most part. And we're going to get into some things that's going to keep you successful. If you're not following me, if you're not subscribed to my channel, make sure that you subscribe now. If you're not following me on Instagram, make sure that you follow me there, because I'm going to be uploading daily to give you helpful tips and tricks and things like that. So that is it for this video. Thank you so much for tuning in. So leave down in the comments. So every single time we have this video, I need you guys to leave down in the comments something. So let me know if you will be, once you complete this process, if you already know, just let me know if you will be decreasing your expenses or your bills, or if you will be increasing your income. Okay, well, it has been a pleasure speaking with you guys. I'll see you in the next video. Go be great. Peace out.